Guys, today I'm talking about why, in my personal opinion, just from my own experience, the ages 15 to about 25 years old, and again, I'm only 19, so I kind of fall right in the middle of that age spectrum that I gave you, are going to be some of the most important years of your life, especially as a young man that's trying to build a career for himself. Now, there comes a certain point, okay, and let's just say you're 27, 28, 29 years old. You're about to enter your 30s. By that point, the world kind of just expects you to have your shit together, right? And that's financially, that's physically, it's basically in every single area of life that you might be trying to focus on and essentially get into check. And from my personal experience and what I've noticed is that everyone that has things that most people want when they reach their early 30s are people that built that foundation when they were extremely, extremely young, right? Because when you're young, it's likely that you have the energy to work on things that you're not going to want to do when you're older. It's likely that you have the time to do it, and you have as little responsibility as you're ever going to have at that age, right? Obviously, there's certain things that you're going to have to do, but especially that first ages 15 to 20, the majority of you guys at that point are barely in high school 30 hours a week. You're probably doing nothing when you come home unless you're playing a sport, and you have all this time on your hands. You can potentially build something for yourself in these years that's going to roll over into your late 20s, your 30s, your 40s, God willing, so you can have a fantastic financial career. And that's what I want for all of you guys. I don't want you guys to wait until it's too late. I know you're going to sit there and say, oh, it's never too late. It's never too late to start a business. It's never too late to give this thing a shot. Of course not. But do you want to have a leg up on the people that you're trying to compete with? Yes or no? That's really the question that you have to ask yourself. Do I want to have a competitive advantage, or do I want to be at a disadvantage? Well, the answer is pretty obvious. You want to be at a competitive advantage always. And unfortunately, because most of you guys take ages 15 to 25 and you do the following. You play video games all day. You sleep around with whores that couldn't give a shit about you. You don't do things that are actually productive or beneficial to your future. And that's the primary issue that you're facing. And then you're 26, 27 years old, you're getting out of school with your liberal arts degree, and you sit there and you look in the mirror and say, why does no one want to hire me? Why can I only make $1,000 a week? Why am I not living the kind of life that I want to live now? It's because you sacrificed short-term pleasure for long-term pain, when what you should have done is sacrificed short-term pleasure for long-term pleasure. Do you understand? Where if you build something, like I'm saying, potentially a business when you're young, that is going to roll over into your future. And you're going to have that for life. And when everyone else is living the same day by day, barely paying the bills, just essentially staying afloat, and you've been able to build something for yourself that keeps you way ahead of the bell curve financially, you're going to be extremely, extremely grateful. But you know when it starts. Like I said, it starts between the ages, in my opinion, of 15 and 25. Now, for me, I didn't really start within business until I was about 17 years old. Now, I know that probably still sounds young to a lot of you. To me, I actually felt fairly old at 17. I still feel old now at 19, but I think that's really just life. I think every step of the way, you're going to feel like, who knows how much time I have left? Who knows how long I'm going to have, this career? Who knows how long I'm going to have X, Y, and Z? But I wish, looking back, I started when I was 15. Because when you're putting in 12-hour workdays, 14-hour workdays, 15-hour workdays, eventually, even if it's not tomorrow, even if it's not next week, I know it's all going to pay off. And it's funny, the same message I give to you now, running multiple businesses at a multiple six-figure rate, is the same message that I gave to people when I was 16 years old on a podcast, when I had no money and when I had absolutely nothing. Guys, the same principles apply. Don't just take my advice because I have a little bit more of a tangible asset that you guys can go get your hands on yourself. The same principles apply. And the unfortunate part is it's either one of two things. Number one, you either know what you have to do and you choose not to do it, or number two, You don't know what you have to do, but you don't get your head out of your fucking ass enough to say, okay, I need to figure out something to do. And if you don't ever take that level of action to say, hey, I don't want to be stuck in this position for much longer, you're going to find yourself in the same situation every single day. You live the same day on repeat. Every day I wake up running my business, something new is going on. I have fun every single day. I like my job, and I do treat it as such. It is a job. As far as I'm concerned, if the IRS is watching, I'm just an employee of my business, right? So I enjoy my job every single day. And if you can't say the same, that's probably an issue. But the only reason I'm able to enjoy it is because I built it up to a point where I know it's sustainable, I know it's predictable, and it's going to allow me to earn way more income than everyone else that I'm trying to compete with in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And if I could outpace people at this age, I'm going to have essentially what becomes close to a passive income at the age of 30, which for most people, that's when they just start to earn a half decent amount of money. When realistically, because of the work that my brother and I and the bricks that we're laying and the foundation that we're building now, at this pace, if I want to kick my feet up at 30 and just travel the world for the rest of my life, I'm on pace to doing that, right? And I'm not saying that that needs to be your goal specifically. It's probably not what I'm going to do. I love the game. I'm going to keep playing it. But at the end of the day, the majority of you guys, like I always say, if you had the option to have an extra $1 million or even $100,000 added to your bank account right now, would you accept it or would you decline it? Every single one of you would accept it. But the issue is the majority of you guys are not willing to go through the pain that's involved in getting to that end goal. That's the primary issue. The majority of you guys do not understand how to actually get your hands on more money. And it's not necessarily physical labor. It might be. You could build a fantastic blue-collar company if you're in the right field. It's not necessarily how smart you are. It's about strategic positioning, in my personal opinion. You need to be involved in a market that's growing. You need to be involved in a market that has a massive pain point. And you need to be involved in a market that gives you potential to scale. And the first business that I ever ran that gave me success solved all three of those issues. And it was a content creation marketing agency. And essentially what my brother and I did is we got out into the field with local businesses and we created content for them. So we shot videos, took pictures, edited them together, and posted them on their social media pages for them in exchange for a monthly fee. And those fees range between $1,000 all the way up to about $3,000 per month. So you figure you go out, you sign 10 deals at $1,000 a month, you're now making six figures. And for me, I've been making six figures since I'm 17 years old. And I was able to build that within less than 6 months from the time that I quit my job as a server in a breakfast restaurant. But why was I able to do that? I'll tell you why. Because even when I was working as a fucking server in a restaurant, I wasn't the one that was going to go in there and work 10 hours a week and be content with that. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. The majority of you guys say, oh, I can't afford that. It's just not reasonable right now. You work 30 hours a week. You're 18, 19 years old. Why are you only working 30 hours a week? What are you doing with the other hours? Correct me if I'm wrong. There's 168 hours in a week. You're asleep 56 of them. 30 hours working, that's 86 hours. Where are the rest of the hours going? In my opinion, as a young person, have your fun, yes. But the majority of your waking hours need to be fully and solely dedicated to building something for yourself, especially if you want to provide a good life to your spouse and to your kids. And that is a selfless decision to make. That is a selfless decision. So beyond wanting a nice car and a nice house and nice materialistic things, have you ever once in your life made a selfless decision for somebody else? Because I can look in the mirror every day and know that the majority of the action that I take is selfless. Because I'm creating opportunity for a team. I'm creating an opportunity for my kids in the future, for my wife, whoever that may be. And it's actions that are selfless because I know the reality of the situation is I'm going to die with nothing. That's the principle that I live by. I don't want to die with anything, right? And I know Dara feels the same way. I don't plan to be buried with $1 million or $10 million or $100 million, however big we take this company, whatever. That's money. I can't take that with me. What I am going to take with me is the experience of taking something from absolutely nothing to something, and then a little bit more and a little more and a little more, and looking back at it along the way and saying, wow, we really did build that from scratch. And to me, that's true fulfillment. And maybe passing it on to my kids one day and giving them an opportunity that I might not have had handed to me at a young age. And that's why we do it, ultimately. Beyond going out and having fun and having a good time and who's doing what, that's fine. Again, we're young. We're going to have our moments. I'm not perfect. You'll see it. But we're doing it. The majority of the reason that we're doing it is because it is selfless. And it's not just for me. And it's not just for Dario. So the materialistic number, whether it's $1,000 a month or $800,000 a month, it doesn't really matter, right? We've been able to give people opportunities and hope to a certain degree, even the business owners that we work with. You know how good it is to me, for example, waking up on a day like today and I get a testimony sent to me from a client that we work with telling me, you guys have transformed my business. I've never been booking as many dates as I previously have. I know that we got in there and we made an impactful change to their business. To me, that's a good feeling. It's worth it. It's why we're doing it, right? The money's kind of just a byproduct of providing value. And the more value you can provide to a large conglomerate of people, the more money you can make. All the guys that you guys look up to, Andrew Tate, right, is one of them. You look up to Andrew Tate. Why is Andrew Tate driving the Bugatti? Why is he driving the Aston Martins and the McLarens? Why does he have all this stuff? Because he's figured out a way to provide some level of inherent value to the masses, right? It's his program. Hustlers University, the Real World, whatever it currently is, that's a $50 monthly fee. And because his audience is billions of people, he's able to make $16 to $20 million a month selling that digital product. He's providing value. And the more people you can provide value to, the more money you can make. It's like having a hotel. Why do hotels make more money than houses the majority of the time? It's because I can house 500, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 people in a singular night in one big room, we could say, or one big building. It's just more value. So everything is just a transference of value. If you could figure out a way to provide value to people, I don't care if you're a 14-year-old and it's shoveling snow, go shovel snow, because you're going to build thick enough skin to where when it's time to put real work in, there's not going to be this big learning curve where you have to learn work ethic. That's something that I had to learn. I didn't have as much work ethic as I would have liked to when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. I was always called lazy, and it fucking aggravated me. So at some point, that aggravation got big enough and the insecurity got big enough to where, guess what? Now it's time to change. Now it's time to change, right? And eventually that had to happen for me. What's it going to take for you? I make a video saying, burn your PS4. You have no money. You still fucking ask your mom for money to go on a date with a girl, which is mind-blowing to me. And you guys fire at me in the comments. It's your own version of coping. Ultimately, that's exactly what it is. So there needs to come a point, and this is with anything in life. I don't care if there's a drug that you're addicted to. I'm not saying I was a drug addict, but I was vaping. I was on nicotine for a very long time. There came a day where I got sick enough with the habit enough to myself to say, I'm not doing this anymore. I don't care who's around me that has it. I don't care where it is. I'm not fucking doing it. And when I made that promise to myself a couple of years ago to say, I'm not someone that vapes. I don't associate as someone that vapes. I may have in the past, but it's not what I'm going to do anymore moving into the future. Guess what? The habit went away. When I started associating myself with, I'm going to be a successful entrepreneur, I'm going to start a company, I'm going to build opportunity, I'm going to have success, I'm going to have money, I'm going to have the things that I want in this world, guess what? It all came to me. It all came to me. And I'm not saying I have 100% of what I want currently, but I've gotten a hell of a lot closer. I can tell you that. We've put people into places where, like I said, we opened up opportunity for ourselves and for other people, and we got closer to that big goal. So if that's something that you guys would potentially be interested in doing, it starts with you, and it starts with the mirror. All these guys that you look up to, whether it's Iman, whether it's Andrew Tate, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who it is. Whether you love them or you hate them, the reality of the situation is the majority of people that built something and really built a name for themselves through a personal brand online that you watch every day started with little to nothing if you really come to figure out their backstory. Some of them are bullshit, granted, but a lot of them started with next to nothing. So my whole mentality is this. If they were able to figure it out, why can I not figure it out? And if you just stick with the fact that you can break this dissonance between people, where if I'm thinking to myself, there's no way I could be as successful as this guy that I'm watching on YouTube. There's no way I could be as successful as this guy that I'm watching on Instagram. If you have cognitively a dissonance where you're saying, there's just no way I could get there, you're never going to get there. You're never going to get there. It's just not possible. Like I said, if you're a young man, you're between the ages of 15 and 25 and you're watching this video, I want you to understand now is the time that you need to build. If you want to build a good life for yourself, a good life for your kids, a good life for your potential business partners and the people that are going to deal with you in the future, you need to start now. These are the young years that people are not taking advantage of, and you will run laps around fucking everybody if you start now. Everybody. And I mean that. So I hope this video provided some level of value to you guys. If you liked it, please do me a huge favor. Subscribe to the channel. We're rebuilding our audience. We're going to be providing tons of free value in the short form content and in the long form videos like the one that you watched today. And if there's anything else that you want me to talk about, please leave a comment. If there's specific videos that you want me to touch on, we're making new content every single week. We're dropping every single week. So make sure if you got value, like I said, subscribe, share the video with a friend, and comment. What are you guys chasing right now? What are you going after? What are your big goals? What's your mission? What's the reason that you're doing the work that you're currently doing? So with that being said, I'm going to head out. Actually, what we're about to do now is we're going to film some of the short form videos that you might be watching that might get you into this long video. So if you guys watch the entire video, drop a comment, let me know, show love, and I'll see you in the next video.